What are you doing?
Good.
What are you doing?
Okay, we are live, everybody. Hi, Warren. And I think, let's see, I think we're good to go. Well, I'd like to call this town board meeting of January 21st, 2021 to order. And ask for the approval of the minutes and the town clerk report.
So the approval of the minutes would be the 12/7 special meeting about the budget, the 12/14 workshop meeting, the 12/17 town board meeting, and the 1/7 reorg meeting, and the December town clerk's report.
I have some corrections for the December 17th. Did everybody? In the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th paragraph, that's NDA from Consolidated. And then second to last sentence is the low tax case, LOW.
Okay.
Right? And then down at the very bottom, it's an RFP. And on the next page, I just wanted to clarify the second paragraph on the next page is Supervisor Cloud also received the mortgage tax check.
Okay.
Which was approximately $44,000. And then we need to spell Ethan D. Maria's name correctly, which is the second to last paragraph.
Okay.
And his last name is capital D-I, capital M-A-R-I-A.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody? Could I have a motion to pass the town clerk's report and the minutes? Sarah, you're muted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. We have the approval of the bills.
Okay, so I have year 2020 general bills number 18149 through 18170. Highway number 18184 through 18196. Water district number 3004 through 3010. And then for the year 2021, I have general bills number 18172 through 18183. Highway number 18197 through 18201. The water district number 3011 and 3012.
I move we accept those bills as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Madeline. I have a short supervisor statement available now on our website in 3 places. Background materials, documents, and police department is our proposed police reform and modernization plan as edited by the stakeholders committee. Public input is welcome on this document and comments should be sent to me. I also have a copy printed out here at Town Hall. The board is reading it now, and after any changes, we'll pass this in February as per the state mandate. These changes will then be adopted into our police policy, which John Hughes, Mike Beliveau, and I are working on right now. To remind you, this policy will sync up with the state police in all regards as pertain to a part-time police department like ours. Alice wants me to remind everyone that the town bought One Call Now, an emergency alert system for residents to be informed on any kind of emergency situation in town, from bad storms to downed electrical poles to water problems and shutdowns. You can be alerted by text, email, or phone call to a landline or cell phone. So please contact Alice at Town Hall by phone or email, or just stop in. That's it for me. Public comment. Did anybody get any? I have not received any this month.
I just have a public comment, which is my own comment, which is that the public lighting at the Stewart's entrances, both entrances are out, and 4 of those poles are the town type light poles, and one of them, I think at the northern entrance, is also one of the Stewart's lights. Now, the lighting situation there is not good at all because of all those lights being out. So something should be done about that.
Those are the antique lights?
4 of them are antique lights.
Yeah.
One of them is the Stewart's light.
All right,
They're down light. It's a down light.
Kyle Lougheed takes care of those for us, so I'll get a hold of him. Okay, thank you.
In public comment too, I'll say thank you, Kyle Lougheed and Genokia Electric, for helping get electric out to the ball field so we could potentially light up our softball field and give us lights for the ice rink that we have out there now.
Great. Thank you, Matt.
Matt, can you talk a little bit about the skating and what's going on there, and
Yeah.
about the hours?
So we're gonna try to preserve the ice by not skating in it. Me and Ray even talked about it today. By not skating on it in the middle of the day when the sun's beating on it and it does get to be a little bit warmer, because Ray can say as well, when you skate on that, it becomes like a slush wet and you really dig and gouge the ice. So by us doing it from 9 to 12, we have the coolness coming over from the overnight temperature, and then we're going to close midday from noon. I left it open till 1 today just because it was cold. It was really cold, and then we'll go from 4:30 to 7:38. I don't know if I need to if we want to talk about what we want the hours to be, but opening it at 4, the sun goes down, and once the sun goes down, that temperature drops, and it gives us another nice hard surface.
We have evening lights, and we have the lights there at night.
We have evening lights. Mr. Carl Baden is helping us out tonight by bringing them in for us at 7:30 when the rink closes. I would also like to thank everybody. We had 2 incidents early on of getting over the fence, but everybody since has been very cooperative in not getting out. If anybody's interested in helping resurface the ice or anything like that, please contact me. I'm always looking for volunteers. It gets cold. Mr. Chase has helped me do it once or twice. But yeah, we have, some people have skates, so there's kind of a skate swap that goes on. People can change them in and out. And yeah, if you see the sign that says closed, please don't, and the gate's closed, please don't go in. Other than that, that's it.
It's
Thank
like
you, Matt.
it's the most beautiful spot to skate ever. I mean, just with the mountains in the back, and it's just gorgeous. So
Well,
thank you,
been
Matt.
Since it's open. I mean, it's great to see everybody out there. Like
Yeah.
when Ray was out there was a 2.5-year-old and a 6-year-old learning to skate for the first time. Their parents don't skate, but it's perfect for them because they don't have to go on a lake and, like worry about going, and they're right there with them.
Yeah. It's great. It's so great. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, then I'd like to turn our attention to Warren. We have two pieces of business here. The first one is that we need to pass a resolution authorizing real property renewal procedures for seniors and persons with disabilities and limited income in certain cases pursuant to Senate Bill S9114, Subpart D, dated December 23rd, 2020. Do you want me to read this aloud?
You're asking me?
Yeah, the general.
Let me see how long it was.
It's
fairly
long.
long.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
long.
think you have to, I don't think you have to read it out loud. I mean, basically, it's, the Senate passed a bill allowing those exemptions to stay in place for 2021 without the requirement of renewal because of the COVID. So that's automatic. We don't have to pass anything authorizing that. That's now part of state law, just for 1 year. The only thing we're required to do or permitted to do is to provide certain procedures for the renewal of those assessments in the event the property owner feels they're entitled to a lower assessment. If they're entitled, if they're actually would be subject to a higher assessment, that will stay in place. That will not be changed for next year unless there's been a change in ownership of the property or a death, and I've spelled that out. So this has been reviewed. These procedures have been reviewed by the assessor's office, and they're perfectly acceptable to them. So the only thing you need to do would be to vote on the resolution. Almost all the municipalities are enacting similar resolutions.
Any thoughts? Could I have if everyone agrees, could I have a motion?
Would make that motion.
Second,
Madeline, can we do a roll call, please?
Supervisor Cloud,
Aye.
Councilman Bartles,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jones, Councilman Zick.
Aye.
And so we should just make sure that we put this on the town's website so the public has notice of this and post it on our bulletin board in case anybody comes into town hall and looks at our bulletin board anymore.
I know. Oh, so sad. Okay, great. We will do that tomorrow. The second piece of business is there's a revision, and maybe Warren, you can help me out with this,
Sure.
to the BFJ contract for the zoning review.
Sure. I had been asked to review the contract with BFGA for them to review our zoning code to make sure that the code was consistent with our comprehensive plan and to also update it in the event that there are any needed updates to the code. And they provided a contract, and I embodied that contract into a more formal municipal contract. But I had noticed that the contract didn't address the issue of the amendments to our subdivision regulation, subdivision code. So I had discussions with you and BFJ about that as to whether you wanted to go ahead and contract with them to also do that now. And the decision was made that we would simply pass the resolution authorizing the contract at this point just for the zoning code revision. And I have mentioned in there in the revised agreement that if we decide to move forward with the revisions of the subdivision code, that will be pursuant to either a separate contract or an amendment to this contract. So That's what I
And this-
sent you
And
tonight.
this work will hopefully influence a lot of the subdivision code so that it's not an enormous project. It's actually relatively brief.
Yeah, I don't see the subdivision code being, I think it's fairly up to date.
Mhm.
But there are provisions in the zoning code which I think need to be revised, so that will be more formidable.
Great. Any discussion? Could I have a motion to pass this?
I move that we pass the BFJ contract.
I second.
All in favor? Or should I do a roll call on this?
Yeah, because contractually.
Supervisor Cloud,
Aye.
Councilman Bartles,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jones,
Aye.
Councilman Zick.
Aye.
Wonderful. I
Can I
cannot wait.
just
to
ask
get
a
this
quick
started.
question? A number of people have approached me with some thoughts or suggestions or requests to be added to the list of things to possibly be looked at during this review. Where do we send them? Who do you want them formally in writing? How would you like that addressed?
Well, I'm not going to be involved in it at this point. It's going to be the zoning review committee plus BFJ. So I
Okay.
would think that if any public has any input, I would hope that it would be solicited by the zoning review committee, but they can send their comments at this point to our supervisor, and I'm sure Dara can pass that on to the committee. I found in going through some files, I found some notes that I had made a while back about revisions that had to be made to the code. So I pulled those out, and I'll be supplying that at some point to BFJ. And I'm assuming once they get further along in the work, I'd be working with them to put it into the changes into a local law.
That would be wonderful. If you remember, the town board is actually going to take the first pass on this with
I thought
BFJ.
BFJ sort of suggested the other. BFJ's proposal suggested that we work basically through the review committee.
That was not my understanding of it, but
Well, we'll reread it, but
yeah, regardless, everyone should send their ideas or thoughts to me.
And Warren, would you send a copy of your notes also to Dara, so the board has them?
Yeah, I just pulled the file out. I have to review it, but
Yeah.
when I have that ready, I'll provide it to the town board. I think it was back in 2017, so I think we did amend certain provisions of the code, but there are probably other issues that I'm sure have to be addressed. And I'm assuming BFJ will reach out to the planning board to see if the planning board has any additional comments or requests for changes in the law.
Great. That's a big deal. We can get started on this, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. The highway report.
Okay, we've just been doing basically our usual winter maintenance activities. The crew's been out busy with tree trimming and like I said, our usual winter maintenance activities. I do want to report that we've had recently, within the past month, 3 of our street name signs stolen. I have spoken to our local police about it. We have replaced the signs, and the police are going to just be keeping their eyes out. We did Skunk's Misery, which is our usual sign that's stolen. That was stolen, as well as Sissing Mountain Road and Woods Drive also. So I'm just going to emphasize, if anybody sees anything out there, please give a call. We've had a multitude of other delineators and signposts spray painted red on one of our town roads as well, and I've told the police about that. There's just a lot of stuff going on out there, so just keep your eyes open and don't be afraid to report it to the department.
We also lost a brand new one of those antique style lights back in the municipal parking lot. Somebody, it looks like they rammed into it. We just replaced it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very expensive light, and it's hard to tell if it was accidental or intentional, but it's certainly lying flat on the ground in a way that kind of looks like somebody really whacked it head on.
Hmm.
Really disappointing. And we literally, I think we just got the bill for replacing it.
I was wondering if it should be, if we put a new one in there, if it should be moved back further.
I was
It is
wondering that too,
It's right next to the parking lot.
where we would put it like around the fence there.
Yes, maybe protected somehow.
Or else just a simple pipe bollard to protect it.
Right.
Yeah, right. Just something that you hit that first and maybe it would warn people who aren't skilled at backing up, or
Right. Yeah.
have our town police had a chance to look at it and just see if it's what their thoughts are?
They've been notified of it. I haven't heard back.
Okay, because it, you know, it'd be someone's automobile insurance that should protect us,
Yeah,
right?
it would be great.
And I'm sure that it's within our deductible, right? I mean, our insurance won't.
We are inquiring of that already, so we'll
Okay.
see how that works out. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
That's okay. The other thing I have to report is that I did speak to Ray this week with regards to the status of the Hicks Hill slope stabilization project, and he did let me know that he's hoping that the bid should be returned by February 16th, right, Ray?
Correct.
Okay. So
That
that's
way the board will be able to take action at it during the February meeting.
excellent. Okay, thank you. Also wanted to just see where we're at with the status of the plans and the RFP for the highway department repairs.
Yeah, so I've got the stormwater as far as the drain, the main drain. We're just working on the architectural portion right now. I'll have to check with my office tomorrow. What I'll do is I'll send an email out to everyone as far as when I anticipate those to be completed. I didn't do that before the meeting tonight, so my apologies, but I'll check with them and then get back to everybody as far as when they'll be ready to go out to bid.
Okay, because that would be definitely great to plan for summer if we can get a contractor to start construction, perfect time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to obviously, put it out to bid during the winter. So that way when contractors are hungry and that way they've got it slated for the spring or summer when,
Right.
they can get in there and get it done.
Okay. The only other thing that I have at this point would be the parking, the municipal parking lot. I have spoken to the town police about some issues that we're having there with cars. And I know that you guys probably received the email that I had sent out to you with regards to some repetitive offenders. John was able to speak to a couple people today. So we have to figure something out with that parking lot. There is a section that is assigned for tenant parking only. And when there is a storm forecasted, the people are usually pretty good about parking in that area, which would then allows my crew to come in and do what they have to do with the snow removal. There are a lot of cars in that tenant parking area, so many that they actually spill over into other areas. But we do have individuals that I've now been told are definitely not part of the properties that are involved in the parking lot agreement where those parking spots are designated. There are individuals that are just parking from wherever in this parking lot. There is a town law that has been passed that prohibits the parking in that parking lot overnight. So in the past, what has happened with previous superintendents is they would just go in, they would see the cars, they would call a tow truck, and they would be towed out so that the parking lot could be plowed. I'm not as forceful as that. I would like to give one warning by, as I said in my email, putting a notice on their car and stating that if the car is there the next storm, it will be towed at the owner's expense. But I'm bringing to your attention that there is definitely an obvious issue with a lack of parking, and asking how you want to handle this. Because we cannot go in there and plow if there are cars all over the place. And that was the intent of this law, prohibiting the overnight parking in the vast majority of the parking lot, and basically just allowing for the tenants to be parked in their specific area. But it's not being adhered to at this point.
think we should include the one property owner that we know of in the discussion to see if, give them some time to try to make other arrangements.
I'm not sure that they are one of the vehicles that came up when the police ran the license plate. I think, Matt, if I'm not mistaken, are they just looking for a place to park at this point?
One of the addresses you had was, a tenant over the drugstore. So I'd like to see
Oh.
Nancy have a chance to respond at least, or to work with his tenant first before we started towing people.
Right, yes. Well, I think John has spoken to them and has suggested an area for them to park in until that arrangement is figured out.
Okay,
That's what he did report to me today. We do also have one of these vehicles that is parking, and it appears to be one of the addresses, one of our streets nearby. I'd rather not mention names on the internet at this point. That is, well, if I say this, they're going to know who they are anyway. That is utilizing the electric vehicle charging station overnight during the storms on repetitive occasions. So I'm not sure if they don't have the means to charge their car at home, but it is being left there overnight, and that is an area where it's crucial for us to get in there to that spot to then go over to scoop the rest out. So I don't think that the intent of that vehicle charging station is for overnight parking. I could be wrong.
Nope.
So you'll have to reach out to these individuals and let them know. But in the meantime, I'd also like to, for our next storm or even before, because theoretically, whether it's snowing or not, they should not be parked there overnight. We could have a pop-up storm that nobody knows about. I'd like to put those notices on their vehicles, with the exception of the individuals that we discussed at the Nassar's building. But I don't think they're going to be parking there. I think they're going to be parking in the grass, as John suggested.
So, but Heather, when you brought up that, one of the other concerns about the homeowner I was talking about
Mhm.
is with them not having a driveway
Right.
and their house being right up to the sidewalk and to the road, they have nowhere to put their, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can't.
Yeah, they
Like-
have nowhere to put their cars. I know, yeah, I understand. There are other, I'm just trying to think historically what individuals were told at that point. Because we did have, and it may have been a previous resident at that particular location that asked the same question. And at that time, there may have been enough tenant reserved parking that wasn't being utilized in the municipal parking lot that they snuck in there. I'm just seeing this year specifically, the amount of cars in that parking lot. And again, I don't know if it's the increase in the amount of tenants in those buildings, if they have multiple vehicles. It's crazy through there. Take a ride through in a snowstorm and you will see what I'm talking about. But that particular individual, Matt, I'm not really sure where to tell them to go. I don't know what the provisions were in the past for those properties, what they did.
Well, I think part of their concern though too was like the snow the next day with all, like the banks being there, like they can't move,
Mhm.
with the sidewalk being their house being there. So I'm just bringing it up because they brought it up to me and,
Right.
thought it was like kind of more your.
What happens on the state route actually is not under my jurisdiction. That law has been passed by the town board to prohibit the parking on town roads. So I'm really not sure. The state will come through and they'll do what they have to do. And if the individuals are home, have them go take a ride around the block for the next time that the plow truck comes through. I don't know if anybody else has any experience with that. Ray or Warren, any suggestions?
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, as far as with the state roads, it's under the DOT jurisdiction and, in small little villages and townships with hamlet areas, it becomes difficult as far as that snow plowing operation where those cars are, and they really don't have many options.
What about the BP there? Do you guys pass a plow through that ever, Heather, to turn around or anything? The old
No,
BP?
we do not. No.
I don't have any problem with towing a car that's parked overnight at the electric plug-in. I think that's really, really overstepping your welcome. particularly if there's a snowstorm going on. Because that's just really rude to other people.
Well, I support your giving them a chance, Heather, but, and then towing. I mean, I think you're
What
right.
about what about a parking ticket? Can we give parking tickets on that location?
That would be up to the police. It's your law also, so I guess you could probably work that out with the police. Just let me know what you want me to put on that notice.
I mean, I like reaching out to the individuals so that they have real notice that they cannot be parking where we need to plow when there's a snowstorm. That's for sure.
The writing of those tickets is a powerful way to reach out to them, let them know what's going on too, I guess.
I just don't know how much they can charge on a parking ticket. I'm not up to date on that.
I think it's up to $20 here. And that's about it.
Again, he says if you get more and more tickets, like first offense $20 and doesn't it go up international or not?
I don't know.
We can amend the law to increase the penalties. I have to take a look at it. Which local laws, what section of our code is that?
I have, it is 251-11. That's
Let me
how
take-
it's codified. And I do have a local law of number 1 of 2001 also. So however you'd like to look for it.
Right. Let me take a look at the law. I'm a little concerned about towing cars unless we have a provision in our code which has a protocol for towing cars and impoundment. So I'm not
It's
sure.
not. That's why I'm bringing it up.
I'm a
also.
little concerned about
Yeah,
that.
it's not actually in the law, which again is why I'm bringing it up. It's something that's been done in the past, but that doesn't always mean that it was the right thing to do. So we definitely need to figure something out and
Right.
soon.
I'll take a look at that and see if we can beef that up.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
The only other thing, Heather, I wanted to mention was the boiler
Yes,
at the highway garage. So everybody, that boiler is ready to die. The block is cracked. Mike George is holding it together with paper clips and hope. We have put bids out to replace it. We have 6 bids out. So we'll see what they come back with. It is a large commercial boiler. One of the ideas, which we floated before, is that it become a gas boiler because of the desire to get rid of that oil tank, right? So some of the bids are coming back for that kind of a boiler. One other proposal was that we get 2 boilers, 2 smaller ones. So people are going out there to look at the situation, and we need to kind of prepare ourselves for this.
I also wanted to let you know, I know I mentioned this earlier, that we do receive those sporadic New York State Department of Labor boiler inspections. He showed up today at the shop.
Oh, of course.
So I had a feeling it was about time.
Yeah.
So again, he didn't speak to me. He left. He asked my name, and I've never seen any correspondence from them after an inspection, but I just wanted to let you all know that he was there today.
All right. Well, you know, we certainly have proof that we've gone out to look for
Right.
bids on it. So let's cross our fingers.
Does anybody else have anything for me at this point?
Well, actually, Heather, one item, I did go out and I took a look at the water system.
Yes.
And I provided that email back to you and to the supervisor. So I just wasn't sure if the town board took action on the water treatment system bid that was received.
We had talked about it. Don had some questions.
My question was, I didn't know whose system it was, and I thought whoever's it was, we should have asked them if that system was repairable. But evidently, or according to Heather, it's the same person who's giving us the new estimate, who
Correct.
put
Yes.
in and sort of maintain the other estimate.
Right.
And
That
the
is,
only other question is that, you know, the system was basically not touched since some previous administrations, so it was just allowed basically to fail, rather than being serviced and maintained and chemicals put in as needed and things like that. So I never was able to find out exactly how long ago that was, but it was a while.
correct.
And we had Dave Denardis in looking at it a while ago when there was another complaint, and basically we just cut it out of the system. But evidently, you know, there was non-functioning at that time, and they were having problems with, I don't remember exactly what the problem was. But anyhow, so Heather was able to answer my question that I had at the last time.
So should we, do we need to vote then on replacing that water treatment system?
Either that or trying to get another estimate. Oh, my other question was, are we going to have potable water after we're done, or are we just going to have softened, you know, just non-potable water?
Well, based on all the testing that's been completed previously, again, we had done some testing a couple of years ago, and it was potable at that time. There was no bacteria located within the water supply, and there were no other significant contaminants, with the exception of the iron and manganese, which again is part of that treatment system.
I was assuming that we had to go out for 3 bids on this. Did we just go out for 1 bid because we wanted it to be local and best value?
No. When I was given permission to have Rich come in to look at the system to analyze what was going on, he put together his recommendations and presented what he felt it was going to cost. And
Okay.
that's as far as it went. With regards to the old system that was in there, and as he explained to me, the media inside of that filtration system basically just, it has a life expectancy. They're not serviceable units. They did cut the system from the water supply. So now I have 2 canisters, well, filtration systems basically, that are disconnected and taking up room in the furnace room as well. So because they cannot be serviced, I also wanted to ask permission to dispose of those to get them out of that area that they're taking up space. So while we're talking about this, I'll just throw that out there as well. But no, as far as I know, the only reason why you got any price was because Rich put it together with his recommendation.
I think we should move on this.
And for the board, any type of filtration system or treatment system, basically it's a resin type system, and they all have useful lives. And again, at some point in the future, it will have to be replaced again.
Well,
Well,
do we need to go out for additional bids or not?
It
Well,
depends on the procurement policy. I
yeah.
believe you do.
Technically, we should get 2 more bids for our
Yeah.
policy.
Well, I think we should do that then.
Okay,
But Heather, I wouldn't take and throw the other stuff out until people have had a chance to see what is there.
What system was it? Okay, we'll just keep it to the side then.
okay. So Heather, you and I will talk about, I mean, we're gonna have to find somebody else who does this as well, right?
Ray, do you have any other recommendations for individuals that provide systems like this?
Yeah, I'll send an email to you and the supervisor with 2 or 3 other contractors that do treatment, and that way we can get proposals from them as well.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Heather.
You're welcome.
Building,
Heather, I'm working on the brush pile, and so far it's fairly good news, but we have to confirm it.
Did
as
you
far
get a phone call or get in touch with Greg?
Back through Liberta. I went back through Liberta, and he's verifying. He was the one who moved the Rhinebeck's pile out.
Mhm.
So I had talked with him, and he felt that they would be interested, but he was going to confirm that.
Yeah, I actually received a phone call from Greg from McEnroe's yesterday and told him that
Okay.
we would be calling him. He is definitely extremely interested. They will bring a container and they will
Right.
I guess
They
as
will
we,
provide-
as we're loading, right.
Right.
As
Right.
we're
Okay.
shipping, they will haul it away.
Right.
So it definitely does sound like good news.
They do charge though for leaves. They don't charge for chips, but they would charge a drop-off fee for leaves as
Well,
well.
I did verify also with the one other individual with regards to what material he will take, and he will take sleeves at this point.
Okay.
So we should be okay with that for
Okay.
now, until that arrangement is no longer. So I think the main point is definitely finding a place for the chips to go.
Okay.
Okay,
Great. Thank you.
thanks.
Okay, building inspector, I have, let's see, this is the December report and end of the year. So total permits were 74. And new homes, 2. C of Os, 49. C of O searches, 69. And site inspections performed, 192. So that 74 looks like a record, at least for the last 10 years. Police department. Court hours were 5. Patrol hours, 238.5. Administration, 35. Investigations, 8. Training, 6 hours. Details, which is paperwork, is 8 hours, and vehicle or other work. The other work being Lexipol, which is the police policy that we're working on, that 45 hours for that. There were 19 complaints, 4 fire EMS calls, 2 accidents, 45 traffic warnings, 55 tickets, and let's see. 4 parking warnings, 3 arrests.
Sarah, he does have parking tickets down on his thing. Whoever asked about parking tickets
No, I
before.
know that. I just don't know whether he can give them in that parking lot or whether it has to be on the street. I don't know what the rules are. It could be funny rules.
Maybe we just need proper signage in there and then.
John and I attended actually 2 Lexipol webinars with, Lexipol has set us up with a wonderful guy that makes us less panicky about the 800 plus pages we are editing and is teaching us the software. And Mike Beliveau has learned to do it. So the 3 of us are basically working on this together. Officer Hughes and Sergeant Lawson provided security for the food locker. Officer Hughes and Officer Beliveau attended the proposal meeting with Axon representatives on the body cam and taser. Again, the county is still working on some kind of shared service for body cams, and we still await what that's going to turn out to be. And it looks like the state is mandating body cams, so we're trying to figure out how towns can afford this. And I'll let you know, I mean, you know, you never know when this information is going to show up. I meet regularly once a week with all the mayors and supervisors and the county executive on basically it's either police reform or COVID at this point. So, so I'm usually pretty up to date. Water department. Ray, do you want to read this?
Yeah, I'll go through it. So our average daily flows for the month of December was at 54,000 gallons per day, which is up slightly. I do believe that I still have a leak somewhere within the system, and unfortunately, I know that there's still a few unoccupied buildings within the water system, so I'm wondering if some of them do not have heat and there may be a leak within one of those buildings. So, but I'm going to continue to try to track that down. Two water meters were replaced and rebuilt, and then 4 meter heads were replaced. 2 utility markouts over the past month as well. I've completed and submitted the annual water withdrawal report, which is required by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. During the 2020 calendar year, Pine Plains Water Improvement Area utilized 19.5 million gallons of water, which is down actually about 500,000 gallons for the year. So that's good. So the efforts as far as trying to conserve and track down leaks and so forth have been working out. Well number two, the pump has been installed. It took almost 4 weeks for that pump and material to come in, and it was just replaced last week. So in addition to the well pump and motor being replaced, approximately 100 feet of what's known as drop pipe, that's the well pipe located from the top of the well down to the pump, was also replaced along with the wiring and the pump check valve. Those items were not replaced back in 2003, so they were about 30 years old. So again, they were basically at the end of their useful life. They were heavily pitted, so those were replaced so we wouldn't have any issues with that. We also had a minor electrical item that had to be fixed on the motor starter for well number 2, and it had to do with a voltage regulator on the motor starter, and we believe that because of that failure, that's what caused the pump to fail. But again, the pump itself was in service for 17 years. Just a bit of trivia, I looked back into the records. So again, it was replaced back in 2003. So between 2003 and 2020, those 17 years of service, pump number 2 pumped 190 million gallons of water into the water system. So
Bravo.
pretty interesting.
Good to know.
Yeah, 2020 would not be complete. Again, a very troubling year for everyone, but it wouldn't be complete without a water line break that took place on December 30th, and we had to have it fixed on New Year's Eve. So right in front of the bank by the traffic light. Luckily enough, though, the main service line was not in terrible shape. However, it was right at the curb shutoff that the failure had taken place. So we didn't have to dig up the roadway, luckily. We were able to do everything right in the area of the sidewalk. So that repair was made. We are going to provide for a temporary repair in the form of cold patch asphalt, and then concrete would be reinstalled for the sidewalk in the spring. I didn't want to do concrete now, number one, because of the weather. Number two, it's not going to cure well enough before de-icing materials are placed onto it, and then it's going to spall, and it's going to just fail prematurely. So we'll put cold patch in there for the time being, and then we'll do permanent concrete sidewalk there when weather breaks. If even in February, if we happen to get a few days of warm weather, then we may go ahead and try to get that installed. Other than that, 2020, the fourth quarter meter readings were taken, and they were done at the end of December, and the bills were sent out at the beginning of the month. I want to also indicate 2 thank yous, one to Heather and her men for helping getting rid of the pipe and excess materials. They came down today and took care of that well pipe and brought it over to the highway garage and put it into the metal recycling bin. So thank you for that. And I also want to thank Alice, both Debbie and I want to thank Alice for a Christmas present, which were office chairs that she was able to obtain through Dutchess County surplus. I wouldn't say they're new, but they're newer than the chairs that we had. And so we're very thankful for that. So thank you, Alice, for getting those for us.
Thanks for lending us your truck so we could go down there.
So Ray, in your next bills that you send out, it might be nice to alert people about the family ID, that if they're in the water district, they can sign up to get those alerts. Like
It's called, Matt, it's called One Call Now.
One Call Now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so actually, Matt, I did make a note of that when the supervisor mentioned it. So I'm going to get the information from Alice. I made a note for myself, going to get the information for Alice, and that way we're going to go ahead and put a little slip in the next round of bills, which won't be until the end of April. But for our next quarter, we'll go ahead and we'll insert that to contact Alice, so that way they can get placed onto the list.
Mhm. And then maybe it spreads word of mouth, and then everybody's all on the same page.
Right.
Yeah, I have it in the newsletter for tomorrow also, so we're hoping to, and Alice just made beautiful posters to put up around town, so.
Yeah, because I think Alice had indicated that it can be broken up into various groups if you want. So again, it'd be nice to have.
Quick water districts,
Right.
if they're not in the water district, they don't need to get that call.
Exactly. Yep. From the engineering side, I do have the RFP drafted for the building demolitions for both buildings
Right.
on North Main. So I'll have that out Monday, and I'll provide copies to the town, and that way you can get it posted with the county under BidNet and so forth.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That's great. I'll warn Sarah.
Okay. Yes.
That's been a real benefit, that shared service. We've gotten a lot of great response from any RFP we've put out.
Right.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, absolutely.
On to recreation. So Monday, we had a very long and very productive meeting with Mike Cooper, our recreation director. And we created the beginning of a reorganization of the recreation committee. And what we'd like to do tonight is pass this part of the reorganization with the understanding that this will be kind of like a living document as we go forward and find things we want to adjust. But we came up with a number of items on this list to change. So I thought I would read this, and Matt, jump in anytime and whatever you want to say. But in order to promote recreational activities in Pine Plains, the town board has recreated our recreation committee and charges them with the tasks of gathering volunteers and coaches, creating new programs and assisting with current ones, grant writing, playground maintenance, acquisition and renovation, and the oversight of maintenance of recreation buildings and grounds. 1, the committee will consist of 7 members. 2, each member will serve a 3-year appointment renewable via letter of intent and approved by the town board in consultation with the recreation director. 3, due to the small population of the town of Pine Plains, the pool of candidates for membership is too small. Hence, membership is open to those who work or live in the Pine Plains School District. 4, members must attend 10 out of 12 meetings per year and inform the director ahead of time if they're going to be absent. 5, the recreation director will be the liaison to the town board for the camp and beach directors. And 6, the committee must be diverse in all aspects. Michael Cooper wanted me to make sure everyone knew that kids in sport don't end up in court.
Even with this new committee, we still need volunteers to help out with all these people on these committees. So don't, if you do have time, it's recreation, it's mainly for the kids. Like if you are a chess player and you want to teach kids how to play chess, if you have cooking skill, like we're looking to expand things. These guys are just kind of our directors who facilitate what's going on. But we still need volunteers and people to show up.
I want to second that. Volunteers are absolutely welcome, and also your volunteer interest, if you're interested in becoming a member of the committee, would be something that would be obviously a relevant consideration.
Great.
I speak to this? Don.
Don, Don,
Okay.
I can't see you. You're kind of, sorry, I didn't.
I'll back up. I'm trying to keep the light out of there, so
I
if it
see,
doesn't
okay.
work.
All right.
Anyhow, no, I'm sort of the dissenting opinion on this. I think it's premature to be making these changes. I would like to see the history of the rec committee to start with. I disagree with item 3, which is that membership is open to all those who work or live in Pine Plains. I feel that the committee should be represented by Pine Plains taxpayers themselves. Every other committee we have, that's a restriction on, and I think we should continue with it. And the other thing in the reorganization, your item number 5, I disagree with the fact that the recreation director will be the liaison to the town board for the camp and beach directors. I believe that the recreation director should be and oversee the beach and the camp director. We already have a town board liaison, and right now that's Matt Zick. So I just wanted to publicly state that I feel this is not appropriate at this point, and it should have a lot more discussion. If it's something that we're going to come to a vote for, or it's necessary to vote on, my vote will be no.
Dara did say it is a living document though, so we can change it at any time, just to put that out there.
I'd rather see us really look at it closely once rather than chop it all up and then try to put it back together.
I feel that it's stagnant right now in the way that it is being run.
Wow.
And our rec director feels that this is the best direction that we should go in. And I feel that we need to trust the person that we put in that position to give him a shot.
And let me remind you that we disbanded the Recreation Committee at the last meeting. So we have no Recreation Committee at this point.
Mm-hmm. And the reasons given for disbanding it were to do a proper review of everything. Not to,
Well, that's what last Monday's meeting was about,
right.
was to start that process.
I expressed my opinion and I told you what I will vote if it does come to a vote.
Okay,
I make a motion that we accept the resolution in front of us, or that Dara had.
I'll second that.
well, should we take a voice vote?
Yes.
Madeline, can you?
All right. Supervisor Clown,
Aye.
Councilman Bartles,
No,
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jones, sorry,
Aye.
and Councilman Zick.
Aye.
We did choose names for the committee. Should we then vote on those? Yep. The following people have been named members of the Recreation Committee beginning in 2021. Their initial appointments were randomly assigned with the understanding that at the end of their terms, they can reapply for a standard 3-year term if they so desire. This is being done in order to stagger the terms so that no entire committee in the future is completely comprised of new people. And Amanda Angelo, 1 year. Jen Blackburn, 2 years. Jim Jackson, 2 years. Steve Condesar, 3 years. Stephanie Rhodes, 2 years. Alex Cisco, 3 years. And Rich Tamburino, 3 years. Those who applied but did not get on the committee this year are much appreciated and asked to reapply in the future. All are encouraged to volunteer, and the town would like to thank any outgoing members for their years of dedication and support. Could I have a motion to accept these committee members?
I move that we accept those listed committee members.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all not opposed?
I'm opposed.
All right.
With
Thank
the
you.
caveat that I'm not being critical of any person who has been nominated. It's just the residency requirement that I think is important.
Okay, thanks, Don. Is there anything else, Matt, on the recreation? I don't think so, just
Basement's open, go down, get your skates, have some fun.
great. I have an animal control report here. 6 office patrol meeting and training hours, and 2 calls received, and 2 complaints investigated, 2 missing and found dogs reported, 2 dogs seized, which is interesting, and that's it. Thanks, Rich Prentice. All right, we need to renew our contract with our town prosecutor, Carrie Yamashita.
I move that we do that. I've reviewed it and she gives us great service.
Excellent. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, I'm signing. Okay. And the, police, oh, I already spoke about the police reform and modernization plan, which I sent now to everyone. So it's 100 pages. I think what I should do, basically, just to refresh your memories on this, when the mandate came down from the state that all towns and villages must reform their policing, Dutchess County put together a committee to look at reform. And this committee did many things. We had public meetings in every area where we took input. All the heads of the police agencies, and Don had asked about the DEC, they were there. Everybody was there. All the mayors and supervisors who have police departments were there. And we met every Tuesday all fall and hammered this out. And then we received in December a huge document. In the midst of that, our stakeholders, we assembled a stakeholders committee, and we met every Wednesday, and we read through the plan, and we chose the things that we wanted to do, and we basically just eliminated what doesn't apply to our part-time department. I think pretty much with some sort of editing for our own town, it was a great committee. We had some incredible conversations about policing in this town. It was well worth doing the work, and we came up with this document. So often you will see, as you read through it, the recommendations of the stakeholders committee at the end of a sort of a chapter. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we have to pass it in February. And we're putting it out now to the public for comments. And any questions?
Could we have the police for our workshop meeting then in February, so we can talk and ask questions and they can help explain to us / the town what everything is?
What do you mean?
It's a big document of what's going on. And if we have to approve it at the next meeting, if we have the police come on our workshop meeting, they could maybe give us a rundown and the town of what it is.
Well, they actually, the police did not work on it with us.
Oh, okay.
They worked on the larger document. I think that maybe Sarah and I could give you the rundown at the next workshop meeting. Is that okay, Sarah?
Sure. I sent out my little opinion about the stakeholders committee and the value of what was done there, and the fact that that when we viewed our current policies, that the Pine Plains Police Department sat in an excellent position in terms of what was being asked for in terms of our policies. They were particularly interested in issues of when police had to use force, and also in terms of how many complaints the police are receiving. And on those two things, our officers virtually, there's been no use of force in years. And in terms of the other issue of complaints, they have not received complaints. So obviously we are doing things in a really first class way. And a lot of the materials were much more relevant to larger police departments. And those were the things that were not relevant to us. There were two issues that they suggested that that they were interested in that we could do more about. And one was communication with the public, particularly in terms of how to make complaints, to make sure people knew that there would be a complaint procedure and what that procedure would be and what would happen to a complaint. And then just general openness and transparency in terms of policing, so that the public would know for giving you reports. It would be like a yearly report of the various things, so the public would have more information available to them. And those are things that we will be including in our policies.
One of the fun parts about it was imagining all the things we could do for making the police sort of more available to the public. Having an officer go into the school and have lunch with the kids. Brenda mentioned a kind of like a touch-a-truck event with the police car. You know, some great kind of community things where they're, and I think our police are very much out in the town and people know them, but maybe a little more youth relationship would be great. So there were lots of great ideas that came out of our stakeholders committee. And I kind of detailed the main points in that little piece of that document that went along with it. So that'll help you, Matt.
I personally have no reservations whatsoever about, signing off on this. I think it was a great process, and read as much of it as you want, but it's all to the good, I think. And our officers are doing a good job, so I'm very happy about it.
They really are.
As was the rest of the committee. It was really quite wonderful.
All right. The last thing we have to do today is actually under new business. The Association of Towns is insisting that we have a delegate. The town board must adopt a resolution designating its delegate and an alternate. The alternate will assume delegate voting responsibilities if the delegate cannot vote for any reason. After the resolution is complete, I have to submit a certificate of designation. We do this every year. I believe that I was the delegate all these past years. And I would need an alternate. So,
Do you do anything?
no, I've never done a single thing for this.
So Sarah will be the alternate then.
Would be
I'll
great.
be the alternate. Okay.
All right. Could I have a motion to Uh,
I make a motion that Dara is our delegate and Sarah Jones is our alternate.
for the AOT annual business meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Great. Is there anything we need to go into executive session about?
I would like to just ask Warren about the public hearing that was last Wednesday. I don't know if we talk about it here or if for the planning board. I just want to get his thoughts on it. So
To what end?
he was asking a lot of questions there, and I think that some of them were good and valid questions. And there's been a lot of letters coming in, you know, for and against the situation. So I am just curious to see what his thoughts are.
As a town board, I don't think we have any standing in this matter, but that's my opinion.
Okay, then that's fine. I don't,
If that's okay with everybody, then we're done.
What do you say, Warren?
It's not an appropriate topic for an executive session. I did have some comments that I made to the planning board, and I am going to be meeting with the planning board in an attorney-client session to provide them with legal guidance with regard. You're talking about the Willow Creek application,
Roots.
And you can probably join in that meeting if you like, because it's an attorney-client meeting. And I think the purpose is for me to discuss with the planning board members some of the issues that I had raised, not to make any decisions or to engage in a deliberative process. So if you want to contact the planning board chair and see if you can get on the Zoom meeting for that, or any town board member, I'm sure as
That would
well.
be fine. I got no problem with that.
yeah, no, I just want to see. So.
Do that, Matt.
Okay, yeah, then I'm fine with that. I just and I
Yeah.
know we don't have anything, but so I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hallelujah.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you so
Keep
much,
safe.
everybody.
So long. So
Great
long.
meeting. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, all.
Guys.